Hard Hat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
What's up, Sherrod? Damn it, Amit's at the game. Clearly, he's busy. We got Bobby at the game talking to Porzingis, talking to Scheierman, talking to the guys who played tonight, Sherrod.
Right. Exactly.
Who played hard and showed out. A couple of big performances. We're going to get into all that. And guys needed to, because the two-headed monster that is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they sat this one out. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the Celtics take care of business regardless against the Brooklyn Knots. We're going to call them the Brooklyn Knots the rest of the year, Sherrod. 104-96. Another Eastern Conference team bites the dust against the Boston Celtics, who continue to roll here firmly in second place, the second seed in the East. Not really going anywhere. Probably not going to 1. Probably not going to 3. But they are hitting the road. Tonight was the last home game for a bit. They don't come back to Boston until April. March is a bear, Sherrod. It'll hopefully be sunny skies and warm weather by the time the Celtics come back here. They're going on the road for 6 games. We'll talk about that road trip in a bit. We also got Noa at the Garden. Hopefully, we'll get her on the show at some point. We're going to try. She's a little busy, Sherrod. Shout out Noa. She's doing a little additional post-game work tonight on the all-women's broadcast over at NBC Boston. And so we are very proud of her for that.
Absolutely.
Of course, you can tune into her, but we don't want to lose you guys over here too. So if you got 2 screens going at once, how about that? We'll take that. But definitely shout out Noa, and we'll make sure to get the details on that if she's able to jump on here. So without further ado, Sherrod, let's get into this game. Good amount of things to talk about in this one. I thought the Nets, gave it a run, made it interesting. Of course, Celtics being undermanned. But I'd hate to talk about this game and not start with the rookie Baylor Scheierman, because Bobby's gonna come on here and he's gonna talk for 45 minutes on Bailey. So we'll get our few words out of the way now. But I think and the broadcast hinted at it's been a few years since they've really had a rookie worth talking about, and Peyton Pritchard being one, and Baylor Scheierman has kind of been sitting at the end of the bench, probably where he belongs. But tonight, with an undermanned Celtics team, he made the most of his opportunity, Sherrod.
Yeah, and that's what this is about, Jimmy. It's about getting an opportunity and maximizing it. A lot of the things that he did in this game are things that if you've watched him play, the Celtics with the G League, he's doing the same things. But as a spectator, you're not sure if what's happening there would translate at this level. And in his case, it does. I mean, those deep threes that he was knocking down, the comfort level that he had at both ends of the floor. And even when he has played previously and didn't put up these kind of numbers, there were so many little things that if you're watching him closely, he knows how to play at this level and be a good role player. Whether it's something as simple as not being able to get to an offensive rebound, but being able to tip it out to a teammate who can knock down a 3. Whether it's setting a good screen that frees up a guy, whether it's, trying to draw a charge, trying to make things happen, doing what we have come to know and love as racking up the Tommy points.
Right.
Scheierman is a guy that you see the potential.
Who's Tommy? I'm just kidding.
Stop it. You see the potential. You see the potential that he has as a guy that can help this team. And to me, the interesting thing now is, will he do enough in these next 20 or so games to gain Joe's confidence to be using the playoffs? And by using the playoffs,
that's a big will.
It is. I'm not talking about the end of, for example, let's say for whatever reason, maybe, Jason or Jaylen is having a little tummy ache or something like that, and they maybe have to go to the bench for a little bit, and you need to throw somebody out there for like a 2-minute spell. Can you, if you're Joe, feel comfortable and confident that Scheierman can go out there for a couple minutes and not kill you? Because he's not going to do enough to where Joe's going to play him significant minutes, but can he play spot duty fill in for Jalen or Jason for a hot minute or two type minutes. Is he going to get that kind of confidence boost from Joe? I don't know. But he's making it very difficult for Joe to keep him on the bench if he's able to string together a series of these type of games, not so much scoring, but making an impact, because that to me was what he did more than anything else tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna pump the brakes on the P word, meaning the playoffs, but I am gonna say this, Sherrod. All season long, and we've talked about it, all season long, Joe has been looking down that bench, and sometimes he's looking pretty far down that bench for somebody to rise from the stay ready ashes, if you will, and just be ready, right? And it's been a guy here, it's been a guy there. They obviously haven't had a player that they've really consistently relied on or gone to and stuck with. On any given night, it could be Scheierman, it could be Walsh, it could be Kada. You can keep going down, list 4 or 5 other guys probably. And on occasion, those guys will, play serviceably well, right? And I thought tonight, though, Scheierman, and the reason why Scheierman's going to find a spot on an NBA team if he's going to be shooting like he shot tonight, 7 of 8 from the field, including 6 of 7 from 3. And that includes a hell of a shot at the end of that third period, quarter, excuse me, off the inbounds. And I got to give Porzingis credit on that play too, for catching that inbounds and just immediately firing it back to Scheierman for that 35, 40 footer there. I mean, that was something deep. Pretty. He was feeling it tonight, blowing a kiss to the crowd, and that's that does wonders for your confidence, because you talked about Scheierman and what he's doing up in Maine. And listen, you're the 1% of the 1% to be doing anything that effective, even in the G League. But it's got to really kind of get to you a little bit when you see what's going on in the NBA. You see other rookies kind of contributing, and maybe 2-year guys, and maybe guys that that you're better than contributing at the NBA level. And you're kind of doing it in the G League, and you're kind of wondering if people are paying attention. You have to kind of stick to the process, right? Stick to what's gotten you this far, and be confident that when your time does come, you'll be ready for it. Opportunity, take advantage of it. And tonight he did that. So I think confidence-wise, this does wonders for him. What's going to keep him on the court, though, is what he does on the defensive side. Did you see anything tonight, good or bad, that stood out to you from what Scheierman was able to sort of contribute out there on the defensive end?
Well, the thing that I notice about him is the more that he plays, the less, for lack of a better word, clueless he looks out there.
Sure.
His first instances playing, he just wasn't where he needed to be consistently enough. But now it doesn't seem to be as big a deterrent or an issue when he's out there. He seems to know where he's supposed to be. And a lot of that is just simply getting reps, being out there, understanding what your role is, understanding how to play off of and play with your teammates on the defensive end of the floor, and not being intimidated. When guys, see him out there defending them, they're going to absolutely go at him because he's a rookie. And he's a rookie, and even though he may be maybe 12 out of 12 on a scouting report, that report is going to say really good shooter, defense questionable. And you are trying to, as a player for the Brooklyn Nets, you want to find out the answer to that question about his defense. And I think he was able to, he's not shutting anybody down, but he doesn't give off, this is a big liability defensively type vibes. I look at him in many ways similar to what a guy like Sam Hauser does. Sam's not locking people up, but more times than not, Sam is in the right place at the right time, contesting shots, not allowing guys to get to the sweet spots they want to. And if they make a shot over you, that's fine. You can live with that, but don't let them get to the spots that they want to. And I thought Scheierman, for the most part, did a good job defensively of not allowing the Nets players to get exactly where they wanted to. And that's the stuff. If you're Joe Mazzulla, that's the stuff that's going to breed confidence in you to play them. You know what he can do as a shooter. You know about the offensive side of his game. But can he not hurt you defensively? Because he's not going to. He's not a Drew Holiday. He's not a Derek White. But can he do enough at the defensive end of the floor to the point where you can actually play him and not have it be 4-on-5? He has to be the anti-Dallas Maverick Luka. You can't be that guy.
And we're talking about guys that Joe will go to, and I listed a few. So I'm just going to go down the list, Sherrod, and you tell me right now, as TD Garden tries to jump in here, I have no idea what that's all about. Sorry, team. Let's get that off the screen. You tell me if there's somebody. You stop me when I read somebody that you want to see in there over Scheierman, okay?
That I want to see over Scheierman.
Yeah, you stop me, okay?
Okay.
Xavier Tillman.
Nope.
JD Davis. You can just stop me. JD Davison.
Nope.
Drew Peterson. Miles Norris. Jordan Walsh. Tory Craig.
Yes. I'll stop you right there.
Okay, so that's where I was kind of going with it, because I think you're kind of getting to a point. And Cato was going to be the next guy, but those positions aren't, we're talking about different positions kind of at that point. So
no, Tory Craig is a legitimate NBA veteran. A guy, and I've said this before, and I'm not gonna back away from it. Tory Craig is gonna help you win a playoff game. I am totally.
That's a hot take.
Tory Craig is going to help you win a playoff game, and it could be something as simple as a late game steal, a deflection, a rebound, a putback basket. He's going to do something that is going to help you win a game that you otherwise would lose or not. Basically, you're struggling the hell out of finding a way to win. He's going to help you get over the hump one game. And to me, that's his value to this team. Give me one playoff win and we're good.
I think it comes down to both those guys. I think, obviously what Craig has is experience, right? I'm not to say he's got a bunch of playoff experience, but he's got a lot of NBA experience.
Right.
He knows his role well in this league. He plays it well. Tory Craig does what Tory Craig does, right? I did find it interesting that they didn't really go to him much tonight, and maybe that's because Scheierman kind of had the hot hand there, at one point. But, there's plenty of minutes to go around, and Craig ends up with just 8 minutes. And honestly, same with Keita, two guys where you thought maybe would potentially see a little bit more time and have a little bit more of effect tonight, but largely ineffective. Really not really even much to say about them tonight, other than the fact that they didn't contribute and didn't really play much. But I can still see a situation where Mazzulla would go to Craig a little bit early on. I think he might be a little frustrated with Craig. And I want to say probably more on the defensive end. I think Craig's maybe looked a little bit slow at times out there. And again, with Scheierman giving you what he gave you tonight offensively, that outside shot kind of makes him slide right into a situation if, like you mentioned, one of the Jays can't, need a quick breather, or if something's up with Hauser, right? I mean, he's been in and out of the lineup with back injuries, and obviously you hope that he's going to be healthy because you want to have him in there. But that's where I see Scheierman really coming into play, is a situation where if an injury does occur, if there's guys that are banged up, whether it's down the stretch or at points in the playoffs, where Scheierman could be able to slide in and fill that role and be that outside shooter that's going to still make defenses honest. They're not going to be able to cheat off Scheierman like they could maybe, some of the other guys that you could list on that stay ready crew. And I think that's ultimately what's going to give him and Craig, because you have to honor Craig's shot too, historically speaking anyways, whether or not you think he's effective right now. Historically or throughout his career, he's been a guy that you at least have to, guard, if you will, unlike maybe some of the other guys on that stay ready crew. So interesting little development that we got tonight. I think, this is exactly what you want to see happen, Sherrod, when a starter or two isn't in this game. You want to see who's going to take advantage and run with that opportunity. And guys, I do apologize. We can't get Joe live to you at this moment, but we do have cameras at the press conferences, and we are going to get that footage uploaded within a few minutes or so. We'll have Joe Mazzulla. We are told that Porzingis is speaking tonight, and we are told that Mr. Scheierman himself will be speaking. But I did mention Porzingis, Sherrod, and I would be remiss not to bring him up next as the next player that kind of stood out in this one, and maybe even more so than Scheierman, if we're being honest, at least from a long-term point of view, because a week ago, people thought this guy had, leprosy. They weren't sure if he should even see the light of day until the playoffs. And, now second game back, right? He just under 30 minutes tonight, 25 points. Again, right where you want to see him. Very efficient, 9 of 13 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. Went to the line 8 times, 13 rebounds, Sherrod, and 3 blocks, including a couple nasty ones. Specifically,
Yeah.
I think it was number 901 on his career. And by the way, he's the according to the broadcast tonight, the 10th player in NBA history, Sherrod, to hit 900 threes and block 900 shots. He accomplished that tonight with blocks 900 and 901 at least. So you got to love what you see out of Porzingis, just 2 games back after what some might say was, the end of it all for him.
Right. No, the stuff that really impresses me most about him since he's been back isn't so much the stats, but it's his wind, his conditioning. I mean, typically when guys have long layoffs and then they resume playing, the one thing that they can't really get a firm control of early on is their conditioning. And a lot of it isn't so much that they're in bad shape. It's just that the adrenaline is pumping so hard because they've been out so long that they physically tire themselves out often without necessarily going through the rigors that they normally do to get fatigued. And Porzingis has not shown any real signs of being worn down. It's as if he's just kind of figured out, I'm back, I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to leave it at that. There doesn't seem to be this level of anxiousness that a lot of guys have when they've been out for a long time, wanting to get back into flow, get back into rhythm. And that's great if you're the Celtics, because remember, this is your number 3 option. This is your 3rd at best. And that's even a bit of a stretch. He might be your 4th best player, depending on what Derek White is doing on a given night. And to have a guy that is a absolute cheat code / mismatch as your 3rd or 4th option, and for them to be out for as long as he was and to come back and have the level of consistency from a conditioning standpoint that he has, you're feeling really, really good about if you're the Celtics. And the way that this road trip coming up, and we'll talk about this later, but the way it's broken down, there really aren't going to be many points within this trip where he's going to be extended physically. I think there's only one back-to-back, and that's the second part of that back-to-back is at Sacramento. That's going to be a tough game. I wouldn't be surprised if they sat Porzingis the game before that and played him against Sacramento. But bottom line is Porzingis is doing so many of the things that in a best case scenario, you would want to see from a guy who's been out as long as he has. And that is reason enough for the Celtics to feel really good about his continued progress and growth as they get closer and closer to the playoffs.
It feels like he's, again, and I know that when you look at, if you at the end of the year, you look at the games played and you say, oh, another Porzingis, missed half the season or whatever. But I got to say, Sherrod, when he's been in these games, this has been the best I think he's maybe looked throughout his entire career. And I know I haven't poured over his career, season by season, but I think he's having a better year this year than last year when you compare just the way he looks out there on the court. And I know that he had a good season in Washington prior to being traded, but I still think the last 2 Boston years, or at least maybe this Boston year, really shows the what he's capable of.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that he doesn't necessarily play as big a minutes as he's accustomed to playing, but I would say that when he does play, his impact has been greater this year than it has been in terms of winning games in any other stop that he's been in. You remember he has been the number 1 or number 2 guy everywhere he's been until he came to Boston, where at best, he's your number 3 option. And a very legitimate case can be made that if everyone is healthy, he's your 4th option, behind Derek White, Tatum, and Brown. So the thing about Porzingis that I'm really liking, again, is just the comfort and confidence that he's playing with. Like, he doesn't look like a guy that's trying to work his way back into basketball shape. He looks like a guy who is gearing up for the playoffs and is just using these last few games of the regular season as tune-ups for the postseason. And that is something that I don't think most people anticipated when he finally got back on the court after that long layoff. But most people, thought that it would take him a little bit of time to kind of ratchet up to where he was before. And hopefully he'll be some close resemblance of the player that we've seen by the time they get to the early middle part of April, right before the playoffs. Where what's the reality is this: he's already hitting the ground running now. He's doing a lot of the things that you thought would take him a few weeks to get back to doing. And that, if you're the Celtics, that is a breath of fresh air that you absolutely want to inhale, because it means that you are closer to being a complete team, which I think most of us will agree they're going to have to be that if they're going to win a championship, if they're going to get out of the Eastern Conference and get past, a Cleveland team. So there's a lot of things the Celtics can come away feeling good about, and particularly when those things are relative to Porzingis.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think that is, again, I'm knocking on wood here. This guy stays healthy, stays out of the doctor's office, no more sicknesses or illnesses. I really do think that he's, there, you can probably go down the line and give a reason for X factors on every team. But I feel like Porzingis, like a healthy, effective Porzingis, like just playing the way he played tonight in the playoffs, along with the rest of the Celtics roster. I mean, that's something that you just didn't have for a portion of that playoff run last year. And it just really would be a huge difference maker against what you can expect to be a harder path to the NBA Finals and in the NBA Finals, where you actually might need all hands on deck. So that's another exciting development in this one, is that Porzingis doesn't seem to have missed a beat. And again, knowing what you know now about the fact that, okay, it was just a really bad, some sort of illness, bronchitis, flu, whatever you want to label it, the fact that that's what it was, and that he's able, and then we're seeing him now play the way he was, kind of maybe a bit of a blessing in disguise in a way, because it's just less wear and tear on the body, a little bit more rest. Clearly he looks pretty spry out there, the way he's getting up and down. Probably a little winded at times, but I think that's to be expected. So overall, again, another a solid, more than a solid performance. Again, guys, we got Bobby at the Garden. We got Noah at the Garden. We're gonna get some footage coming in here from some of the post games. Before we do, I want to tell everybody about our good friends at Prize Picks. Well, guys, what is Prize Picks? It's the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to, how much, Sherrod? Not 100, 1,000 times.
1,000 times.
That's right, 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can mix and match player projections from different sports. We're not just talking about basketball. We're talking about all different sports here. Combine your favorite basketball players for players from baseball, hockey, esports, and much more. They offer Venmo, Apple Pay, and MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts, like Taco Tuesday, which is tonight. Taco Tuesday, guys. Get up there on the Prize Picks app and get involved in some Taco Tuesday. Second half of the basketball season is here, and the race to the playoffs is heating up on Prize Picks, the best place to cash in on your favorite sports. So download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your
game, baby.
On that one. There it is. So back to the game. We talked a little bit Porzingis. We talked a little bit Scheierman. How about, and again, it wasn't like the Celtics didn't have plenty of help tonight. The usual suspects, other than Tatum and Brown, were still involved. We had a very, very fourth quarter-esque performance from Derek White, Sherrod, again, who finished with 18 points, 6 of 19 from the field, 3 of 11 from 3, so not the most efficient night outside-wise. But again, that third quarter, I thought was the bit of a turning point in this game. I think the Celtics ripped off like a 7-0 run to start out that third quarter, and obviously Derek White was a big part of that. And then you had a little bit of Drew Holiday showing up as well, 12 points from Drew. Again, the 3-point shot, not quite there tonight, but 6 rebounds, 8 assists. 38 minutes for Mr. Holiday.
Yeah.
Joe's certainly not shying away. 37 from Holiday, and that was a game high or a Celtics high. And again, White with 33 and Pritchard with 33. So the guards definitely got plenty of burn tonight. What did you think of that backcourt tonight, Sherrod? Just and again, it's the Nets. It's guys like D'Angelo Russell that we're talking about here. So no offense, but a little bit of offense.
Yeah, I mean, it was solid. I think when you don't have Tatum and Brown around, it changes so much of not only in terms of expectations, but also the ability to execute. But I thought the guards that they had tonight did a good job of just executing consistently. And that's what you want in a game like this. You're playing a Brooklyn team that you should absolutely, wipe the floor with, because they're just not that good. They play hard, but they're not that good. And you were able to come out and handle your business and be ready to move on. It was very transactional the way the Celtics went about this game. It was just like, okay, we're going to show up. You're going to play Brooklyn. We're going to play. We're going to kick your ass. It's going to be closer than it should be, but that's okay, because we are putting our thumb on the scale of justice and keeping not one, not two players, but our two best players are not going to play, and we're still going to win. And
two best players didn't play. Celtics shoot 33% from three. I mean, won the rebound battle 48-39. Assists were pretty even. Points in the paint, dead even at 38. Again, it wasn't like the Celtics did anything out of this world tonight. It was one of those games where let's get in, take care of business. Let's get by this team with some of our big players out and hit the road. Anything to worry about in your opinion with Tatum or Brown? I know Brown, this knee thing's popped up here over the last few games. And, that also includes a game where he just didn't really look that good performance-wise. So I don't want to play panic meter with something like this. I don't think we're really in panic meter territory to start with that. And if we were, I imagine it'd be, I'm thinking, I don't want to speak for you, but it'd probably be on the green side of things, not panicking.
Yeah.
Or are you?
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not panicking, because I feel that the one thing that the Celtics have done a tremendous job with this year, as good a job as I think they've done, since I've been here, is managing the minutes of their veteran players. Their load management program has been so spot on in terms of giving guys some downtime, some rest, while giving opportunities to the Scheiermans of the world. And those guys are making the most of it. This is the fine line that the Celtics are trying to walk is just it's very atypical of most NBA teams. They're trying to win a championship while at the same time developing young players that aren't high draft picks. They're like late first round, second, and undrafted guys, developing them into potential rotation players in the near future, and doing all this at the same time. I mean, it's like trying to fly a plane and repair the plane at the same time. It just doesn't make sense on how they're able to do it. But that's what nights like this are about. Giving guys like Tatum and Brown some downtime to rest, giving Scheierman a chance to show what he can do in a real game against real NBA players, and figuring out who's going to make the most of the moment, who's going to maximize this opportunity. And it was fitting that they did this on, this was the fourth year in a row where the Celtics have won 50 or more games. And the most recent stretch they had like this, where they won that many games 4 years in a row, began with the big three, with KG, Paul, and Ray. And so when you think about that era and you think about this one, it's fair to say and expect that this team is probably going to have a couple more 50-win seasons in their future going forward. When you look at their core guys aren't even going to be 30 by the time, you're talking about 26 and 27-year-old guys as your core guys, and then others around them. And the Celtics are in a good situation. They're in a great spot, great place. And these are the games that if you're a Celtics fan, you got to feel so damn lucky to have a team like this where you can sit your two best players and not really be that consumed or worried about winning the game.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think, again, without Tatum and Brown in this one, you're just kind of, again, I said it earlier, you're just trying to get by, right? I mean, you've got plenty of other pieces in order to make that work. And I want to say again, thanks to Jonathan for chiming in here. Loves the show. Newbie to the NBA. Started watching 3 years ago. Learning more and more.
Nice.
Thanks to you guys. Probably more Sherrod than me, to be honest, from the UK. Support the soccer team, Celtics. So had to support the Boston. Thank you, Jonathan. We got another super chat here. We got another super chat. We do love the UK. Shout out to our friends at the UK. Eric
and all my people down by Piccadilly Circus. Shout out to my people in Piccadilly Circus in the UK. That was my spot.
You've had some days and nights there, the Piccadilly.
Yes, yes.
I went to London for the first time over the summer, and I did absolutely love it. It was like a cleaner New York City. It was a lot of fun too.
Yes, Toronto,
walk right
London
in.
are both New York, but cleaner. Absolutely. Holiday being more aggressive.
You walk right.
You know what?
You'd love if you could just. What was that, Sarai? What was that?
No, I was just gonna finish what you're saying, and then we can talk about Eric's question.
We will. I was just gonna say, like the cool thing about London, you just walk into any pub and just grab a pint right there. No big process. No sit down, get a waiter, and wait for the bill. But no, you're in and out. It's busy. It's like in and out. Boom. Grab a pint, drink a beer, out on to the next thing. It's just you can't beat it.
Exactly.
Like, let's bring that to here to the States.
I miss that a lot, Jimmy.
Yeah. Anyways, shout out London. Thanks to the UK. Appreciate you. Eric says, what are you guys' thoughts on Holiday being more aggressive on the norm?
I think that I don't think well, here's the thing.
Think he's being more aggressive?
I think he's being more aggressive when he needs to be more aggressive. I like on nights like this, he needs to be aggressive because you don't have Tatum or Brown. On nights where, let's say, they're playing a team that has, an undersized backcourt, he needs to be more aggressive. Tonight, his first basket of the game was bully ball 101. He literally got the ball and just backed the dude down. And they showed the view from the overhead cam, and he's literally underneath the basket, and he just lays it up. That does not happen for guards too often. And so I like when Drew's a smart player. I mean, this guy's won a couple NBA titles. He's an Olympian. He understands when he needs to code switch on the court and be a little bit more aggressive, and when he needs to just kind of be that 4th or 5th option. So the concern that I have with Drew, and the Celtics have really, I think, done a great job alleviating my concerns with this, is I worry about him wearing down. But the Celtics have done such a good job load managing him all season long. It doesn't worry me nearly as much. And if he has a game where he doesn't shoot the ball well, I'm not thinking, oh, this is father time getting to Drew. No, it's just Drew had a bad game. Because he's not carrying the kind of workload that you would think would physically wear him down over the course of the season. So I think he's in a great place right now. I really do.
Yeah. And I mean, if some of the commenters have kind of nailed it, and you nailed it too, Sherrod, he just kind of knows what the game needs. He's not at a point in his career, and really he never really was, but he gives the game what it needs. He's not going to be the guy that's going to force things. He's not trying to get his, right? He's not like that. Doesn't have that superstar mentality where they need to get their 20 shots up, right? But he's gonna on a night like tonight, like you said, when the stars like Tatum and Brown are out, he knows he has to be a little bit more aggressive. So maybe to that commenter's point, and again, thank you, Eric, he had to be a little bit more aggressive in those situations because, somebody's got to do it. And then, you've got the nights where he can kind of defer a little bit and focus more on defense and be that sort of defensive anchor, or at least one of them that, makes up, in my opinion, the best, I would say the best two-way backcourt in the NBA with Holiday and White. And now when you obviously add Pritchard into that mix there, you've just got like a 3-headed backcourt monster where whether offensively or defensively, you have to know where all 3 of those guys are on the court pretty much at all times, because they're just, all 3 of them are just so damn effective in their own ways. Like that's the other thing, is that they've all carved out something that they're all so good at, whether it's Pritchard just being able to score and shoot in bunches, whether it's, Holiday locking down the opposing team's best player, whether it's Derek White and, his blocked shots or his ability to just kind of be everywhere on the court and hit the massive 3-pointers when you seem to need them at the most opportune times. And again, going back to Derek White in this game, I thought that he got hot. It was not a Derek White game, but I thought he got hot at the exact time the Celtics kind of needed to sort of flip the game into their favor. It felt like the Nets were kind of just like comfortably ahead, here and there for most of the first half. And right out of halftime, it felt like that's when it kind of switched.
Yeah. And this is what they do. They are, as a group, figuring out what has to happen in order to be the best version of themselves. And it's good to see. And again, they're at that point now where, they're just, we're at 69 games. There's 13 games left. This is go time. This is when your rotation starts to get refined a little bit. You get a better sense of who's in, who's on the cusp, and who's out altogether. And you want to make sure that you find that balance between resting your core guys, but still making sure that they don't, accumulate rust going into the playoffs. So there's just a lot of things that if you're the Boston Celtics, you've got to really feel good about at this point in the season, especially as the guys who've been, in the load management program are starting to kind of get weaned off of that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if, for example, if let's say Porzingis plays in a back-to-back. They got that one coming up. I wouldn't be surprised if Al Horford played in one of those games and Porzingis played in both. They're getting to that point now where, again, I think you're going to see more and more of their rotation being fine-tuned and refined and sharpened so that they have a much clearer sense of who their top 7, top 8 are. And those guys get used to playing as just a 7 to 8 man band. That's really, really, I think, important to this team as they figure out the path they're going to take to get back and win Banner 19. Hey, did you is that a second?
And we just got some. Oh, what now?
Did Eric? The reason I asked is because.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we look at that. Yeah, sorry, Eric. Thank you again. You didn't have to do that, but we appreciate it. Eric goes, the reason I ask, referring to Jrue Holiday, is because the Celtics are 40-3 when he scores 14 or more points. It's a hell of a stat right there. I think that more has to do with. Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to, if you're getting that from Jrue Holiday, assuming you're still getting some pretty good production from the guys who you typically get it from, I would say way more often than not, you're winning that game. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Don't know if it necessarily means that when Jrue Holiday is looking to get his, that, they're going to win. But I think obviously he's the type of guy that, we're talking about go-to scorers on this team. I mean, he's the 5th guy in the starting lineup, a healthy starting lineup that's looking to score, or that you're expecting to score. So I think, if it's one of those games where he's giving you that amount of points, you could probably bet that, the Celtics are looking pretty good in that one. But again, there is only one basketball. And I think Jrue Holiday understands that, there are other players on this team. Now, he's a veteran. And if teams are going to cheat off him, he's going to try to make them pay. I think there was that one game earlier this year where things kind of got out of hand and it just wasn't his night. And he kind of got exposed a little bit. But I think the Celtics are going to be able to, kind of avoid those types of situations. And I think he will as well. But he's a confident player, as confident as you can be. And again, gives the game what it needs. But certainly an aggressive Jrue Holiday, a physical Jrue Holiday is a recipe for success. But I think, honestly, I don't worry about what he does really scoring wise. I really don't. I just want to see him play strong defensively, smart basketball, get guys involved, frustrate the opponent. And if he can score, that's kind of like the gravy.
Yeah. And that's, it takes players a while to just kind of embrace what their role should be in the NBA. Guys who've been scoring, a ton of points, they want to keep doing that. I was watching a podcast that had Pat Beverly on, and they pointed out how, Pat Beverly is a guy that we know as a pesky defender, and yet he was a big time scorer, when he was in high school. And, the guys figure out what they have to do in order to make it in this league and how to stay around and be effective and be impactful and have a consistent role. And sometimes that what they do isn't necessarily what they want to do. And to me, I look at a guy like Drew Holiday. He absolutely embodies what winning basketball is about. He's a guy that could easily go to another team or even on this team and look for more shots, expect more shots. And to his credit, demand that type of respect because of all the things he's done in this league. But he's not trying to be that guy. He's trying to be the guy that I will get in and fit in where I'm supposed to. I will do whatever I have to do to help this team win games because at the end of the day, that is how I'm going to be defined. When people talk about Drew Holiday and his name comes up as a potential Hall of Famer, people are going to point out the fact that this guy won 2 NBA titles, was the best perimeter defense probably of his generation. And let's be honest, could have put up way better stats than he did if he were a little more selfish. So, again, and ultimately to me, Drew is truly about winning a championship, not just winning games, but winning a championship. Right. Sometimes that makes you look like you're not quite as good as you are as a player.
We do have some Joe footage here, so we're going to jump over to Joe Mazzulla and see what he had to say after the Celtics win over the Nets here.
What has he done to sort of transform and become more sure of himself, and how do you see that reflected in his play tonight?
Yeah, I think that just comes with time. It just comes with understanding the system.
Probably Scheierman here.
Understanding really different lineups that you play with.
I think so. It makes sense.
I think he's just a tough kid that continues to work. I think it's the culture of our play development staff does a great job. Craig and the guys do a great job just kind of creating an environment of learning, an environment of work ethic, regardless of what's going on, and keeping those guys ready. So Baylor's next on the list, along with the other guys, and he delivered tonight. So it's a credit to him, credit to the staff.
How did his energy and his flurry of threes just kind of change things for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was more than the threes. I think it was his, he got some crashing. He got two big offensive rebounds for us. Yep. He got 2 steals. I think it was a deflection in the fourth quarter. And then obviously his threes helped when we went small and we were able to have our spacing. So just got to continue to make plays. Again, the threes are a plus. To me, it was the defensive effort and the offensive rebounding and the toughness that he played with.
What did you see from him in Maine, and at what point in the season did you guys decide organizationally, all right, we've seen what we need to see from him up here, and we're going to start having him around Boston more? And how much do you see him factoring in with you guys down the stretch here?
I mean, it just depends. I mean, it depends on how healthy you are. It depends on what the opportunities are. I mean, it has nothing to do with kind of what he's doing in Maine. What he does in Maine is important, but when he's here, the reps that he has in, whether it's in practice, shoot around, or the workouts. But we've had guys in and out of the lineup, so we wanted to have, and these are the opportunities that you got to take advantage of, and he took advantage of them.
And you talked a little bit about the combinations, the double big lineups, especially you've been able to see at this point in the year. What have you developed with those groups? And it seems like that's kind of become a staple for you guys, lineup-wise, the double bigs, the 4 centers all being involved for you guys. And how much has that grown as the year's gone on?
Bobby.
I think we went small and kind of changed the game tonight, so you got to be able to go different things. Tonight it was our small lineup. They did a great job of playing with speed. The spacing or dribble drive, it opened up the floor a little bit. So all lineups are important, and just have to continue to work as many lineups as we can, as many identities as we can. So, the bigs have done a great job throughout the season, playing by themselves, playing together, versatility. Tonight, was our small lineup that, kind of put us over the top there, and then we were able to finish the game, with the stars.
You mentioned the small lineup there. What led you to go to that at that point in the game? Was it just trying to get that spacing offensively for you guys at that point in the game?
Yeah, I mean, it was just can we play a little bit faster? Can we open it up? I felt like they had the advantage in that particular game with their speed, and we're just looking for a way to combat that. So, the guys did a great job.
Joe, you talked about the environment around a guy like Baylor. What do you see? Like, what do you see from the locker room to encourage a rookie? And it's tough in this situation. You get so many established guys, but here he is playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I mean, half the locker room was in the position that he's been in at some point. Derek was in that position, Sam was in that position, Peyton was in that position, Luke was in that position, Nemi's in that position. So Jordan's in that position. X was in that position. He was younger. So the locker room is full, half of guys that have been in those situations before. So at the same time, there's a level of trust. I mean, whoever's out there, we have an expectation and a trust that they'll do what it takes to win. So that's just the reality. It's the expectation. It's the responsibility you have is to impact winning, whether it's 1 game, 10 games, practice. So I think the guys develop a level of trust with each other in that.
I remember you saying before the season that you told Baylor just how difficult it is to be a young player on the Celtics with the kind of sporadic opportunities there. Just overall, from back then to now, how have you seen him just kind of handle that challenge and grow as a player from it?
He's got high level of toughness to him. He's got a good basketball IQ, and to me, it's just the consistency and the patience. You can't get discouraged. You're not defined by 1 day, 2 days. It's really just a process, and the small moments that you have, you got to take advantage of. And and all those guys have taken advantage of in different moments. Tonight it was his night. He did a great job, and just got to continue to work.
Joe, obviously, Baylor subbed out about 4 minutes left in the game. You have Derek White off the bench. Like, everyone knows how good Derek White is. What goes into a sub like that when you have the hot hand versus, a guy like Derek White off the bench? Like, what are you considering, and what is the balance of, like, keeping the hot hand in the game versus going to Derek White?
Baylor was a rookie, and Derek's our starting point guard.
And then before the game, we talked about how good this Nets team has been despite the rotating personnel. This felt like a game or early game, maybe you guys were missing some shots that you would normally make, generating good looks, and you fight through and pick up a win without, your 2 top guys. What does that say about this team going into a game that some people might write off as just another game against a bottom-feeding team versus something that you're able to pick up a win like this when you're not maybe getting the best start?
Yeah, I don't know what people's expectations were, but that's a good basketball team. So, I don't really look at the records, and they're really well coached, and they got a lot of talent and good players. So, to me, I like the approach of how we handled the game. This team, if you've watched over the last, I know they're like 2-9 in their last 11, but they were double-digit lead against Cleveland, double-digit lead against OKC. Gave us a tough game the other night. So, they're a good team, and we had to go to different lineups. We had to go to different things to make sure that we won.
You said on Saturday before the Nets game that the most important thing for Baylor is being able to defend at a high level and then make the right reads at both ends. Defensively, he had the 2 steals. He helped force a turnover as a help defender, ended possessions with just his hustle crashing the glass. What did you see from him specifically at that end of the floor?
You just literally answered it for me.
I was going to say, you gave him like all the examples.
All that you just said. And he, the thing I really like about him is his toughness. So he's got a high level of toughness too. He's got a chip on his shoulder, kind of like a kind of FU mentality to where he's gonna make it work.
There we go.
You saw that
FU mentality
of his offensive rebound. So again, the threes were great, but I like the mindset and the toughness that he brought on both ends of the floor.
Joe, kind of a general question. I feel like whenever guys have these big performances, we always kind of tag it like his confidence is growing, like confidence this and that.
Yeah, you said it, not me. Yeah.
Hey, is it really as simple as just ball goes in net, I'm now confident? Or at this high level of basketball, like is there something kind of else that really gets these guys going?
I think if you see the first, I can't speak for him, but as a player, if you see the first couple going, that's obviously going to help. But to me, I can't remember which came first, the 3-point shot or his defensive plays that he made. But it also just comes with time. Confidence is kind of an overused term, I think. In reality, it's like this kid just got here. He's been here for 3 months. Like, what do you expect him to look like, 10 games in, playing sporadically? And so, he's always had that confidence. I think it's just a lot of it's a matter of timing. A lot of it's a matter of opportunity. And a lot of it is the moments that you get, you got to deliver, and you got to impact winning. And, tonight it's easy to focus on him because he has 20, but he's done. To me, winning 1 minute is just as important as scoring 20 points when you're in the roles that they're in. Like tonight, it's Baylor's night, but that small lineup, Tory's a 34-year-old veteran, and he's played like 4 or 5 minutes a game, and he helped change the complexity.
No, to me, that's just
as important as
Bobby, shut up.
It's not as easily noticeable, and it looks different. But it's just it's timing, opportunity, and 6 for 7 from 3 is it, but you can do it playing 4 minutes. And you just got to impact winning.
All right. That was Joe Mazzulla. You already heard him, but here's Bobby Manning joining us on the Garden Report.
I gave you some info already.
You did. You gave us a couple of couple of stats. You blew your you blew your point that you were going to lead with. But no, thanks for jumping on with us, Bobby. We just heard from Joe Mazzulla. I know you were in there because you had a couple questions for him yourself. We'll just start with, anything from that Missoula press conference that you wanted to hit on, and then your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I think the takeaway you have there is that he tried to give Scheierman credit for the night he had and the other nights he's had this season without pumping him up too much, because he hasn't done much yet. There's still a ton for him to prove. There's still probably quite an uphill battle to him playing consistently, but there'll be opportunities late this season too. So I think we've gotten past the point, and I didn't even really recognize what point in the season it was, Jimmy, where he stopped playing with Maine and started being around the Celtics consistently. I'd say it was about a month ago or so now. He's been around them a pretty good amount. He played a ton in that Philly game last week where everyone sat. And so he's had opportunities, but prior to March, he never played more than 10 minutes in a game and was pretty much relegated to Maine. I was a little disappointed in that, Jimmy, because I don't know if you remember, but I was really high on him coming into this year. I thought he had a chance to be part of the rotation, given his skill set, his age, his experience. And the fact that he had to go to Maine was a little disappointing. But he blew up there and played out of this world and had a lot of great games. So that makes you feel a little better about a guy rather than having some so-so performances at that lower level. Then you start to get a little worried. So I'm not overly concerned that it's taken him a little longer here to get going. But I do want to start to see him stack together some games here, because coming into tonight, he was 5 of 25 from 3. The games looked a little fast for him. He struggled to get involved, but you did see the stuff tonight that you liked from him coming out of college. The passing, got involved with an assist at the beginning of the fourth. The rebounding, he had a really nice offensive rebound running from the top of the three-point line of the basket at one point. And then he can hit shots, and as he did tonight, and he hit 5 in a row during that huge run there. So I don't know. There'll be opportunities from the play down the stretch. I'd say there's next to no chance he factors into the playoffs here. But if you do build some momentum going into next year, watch this run, from the sideline, learn from these guys, be around them a little bit more. I mean, when I was up in Maine earlier this year, Jimmy, it felt like he never even talked to Joe during the beginning part of the season, as I mentioned earlier, after coming back from up there. Now Joe's playing him in a game, significant minutes in March. So it's a huge step for him. There's still quite a bit of a way to go here, and I think Missoula reflected that with the comments he gave there, not wanting to pump him up too much.
I'm gonna jump to the Scheierman presser. Let's do a minute of Bailey. He's a rookie. We're not gonna give him his whole time to shine here.
You're not gonna pump him up too much either.
We're not gonna pump him up. As Joe astutely pointed out, Derek White's a starter and Scheierman's a rookie, so he's gonna get the rookie treatment on the show too.
You hit that buzzer beater. Actually, you hit the buzzer beater that didn't count, and then you hit that one that did. Can you just walk us through that moment first?
Well, I was actually
this
trying
working
to throw
for
it
you
to
guys?
D White in the corner, and KP jumped in front of it, and he threw it back to me, and I was surprised he threw it back to me.
Was that working for you or no? Okay.
Jokic pass
let
for
it fly at the
KP
end of the
there.
day. I mean, that's kind of all there was to it. There was really
Here we
nothing super detailed about it. D White was actually going to be open in the corner because his man had fell asleep and he was cutting open, but it just worked out that way.
And you took a heat check. You get that shooter's roll. It seemed like your teammates I saw a lot of people laughing, and what was that? What was that like? What were they laughing at? Were they laughing at the fact that you took the shot, or the fact that it went in like that?
Probably a little bit of both. Like to have a lot of fun out there and with my teammates, and they're probably just super excited for myself to get the opportunity and just have the game I did, and so it's probably just a little bit of both.
Baylor, Joe just kind of pushed back on the notion of playing with confidence and said maybe that's an overused word, but he did compliment you. He said that he thinks you play with a chip on your shoulder and with an FU mentality. I'm just curious, do you agree with Joe's assessment there?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, you kind of have to have that mentality to make it, in this league with a lot of talented players. And, every time I step out on that court, I'm trying to go, 110% and play as hard as I can, regardless of the score or who we're playing, and just try to put my best foot forward every single time.
Baylor, obviously, that was a career high for you, and you're getting hype up after all these shots, the FU mentality that was just mentioned. hearing TD Garden's reaction, what was it like playing in that environment, and how does it compare to the other environments?
Yeah, it's pretty special. When I hit that buzzer beater and the crowd was going crazy, that was probably top 3 environment I've ever been a part of, and obviously I played in a lot of big
top 3.
games.
We gotta get the other 2.
It's just special, and that's obviously what makes Boston so elite, and the best sports town in the country, best city in the country.
And then you hit the sort of blow a kiss 3 celebration. I'm curious if Jason co-signed that, or was that something you talked about?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it in the locker room, and I might have to start working on different celebrations. So,
translation.
Baylor, what's the
Thank you very much.
Year been like? What's your rookie year been like? Can you kind of summarize what
This is the last one?
Like, what kind of player you are now than when you were drafted? Can you even compare those 2 guys?
I think I've just done a good job of trying to just be where my feet are, whether that's Maine or here, and try to just learn as much as possible as I can from the people, up in Maine, and then, while I'm here as well, and just trying to take bits and pieces from everybody and kind of just mold it into my routine and how I go about things. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen over the course of the year is just the growth that I've learned, and just, staying ready for whenever my number is called.
And what's the process?
Stay ready.
When the game slows down, everybody's it's fast, but it starts.
All right, that's it. Sorry, Gary. We got one on it, Gary. All right, so we're back. We got Scheierman. We got Joe. Kristaps Porzingis, I see, is loading up, so we'll get a little bit of Porzingis shortly. Bobby, other than Scheierman, because we kind of got your take already on what he was able to provide in this one. We're going to hear from Porzingis in a little bit. What did you like from Porzingis tonight? Second game back from the mysterious illness that I think you thought he might not ever touch the basketball court again. Fortunately, you were wrong on that.
I'm always concerned.
I do. How do you think you look tonight?
Good and better than the last game defensively. I'd say that obviously the last game was offensive explosion, the fourth quarter run that took that game over and slammed the door in Brooklyn. So I love the offense in the first night. Tonight, I think you saw better defense from him, the 3 blocks. He got out on the perimeter at one point and guarded Cam Johnson. So they used him more aggressively. The one thing I didn't like from the last game, Jimmy, is that they basically just had him back the whole game and were letting guys shoot. And the Nets ended up hitting 23s in that game and almost stealing it because of how wide open they left those guys. I think tonight they wanted to play a little differently defensively, go to some more aggressive stuff. And I think it's a nice preview of what he might be able to do in the playoffs, playing more aggressively defensively. And he's come so far on that end of the floor to where I was looking at the numbers today, Jimmy. Their opponents shoot 7 percentage points worse with Porzingis on the floor compared to off at the basket. So he's completely shut out the basket from opponents. The problem is that the 3-point percentage for opponents is going up significantly when he's on the floor as well. And I think they want to leave certain guys open. That's what Joe said before the game. They're not necessarily trying to take the 3 away from opponents if they're bad shooters taking it. But you saw last game, and you saw for a lot of January with Porzingis in there, because those guys can get hot if you're just leaving them wide open. So I like the first 2 games. It's obviously more than you would have expected from him being out this long. His ability to jump right back into the lineup and make an impact right away is really impressive. And he said in the locker room, as we'll hear in a minute here, that he feels like he's getting a little more energetic with each passing day. So it's only going to improve from here in terms of his fitness and his energy level. I think we're going to see a super impactful player down the stretch. And a guy that I've said it over and over again, Jimmy, they're not going to be able to do it without this year. I don't think they're going to be able to roll through the playoffs without him the way they did last year.
Yeah.
No, I would agree. Anything to worry about since you are our official worry guy on the show with Tatum or Brown? Before we listen to Porzingis real quick, just a quick one. Okay.
No, I don't think so. I think Brown getting more of a layoff after the back spasms there. And it's interesting they listed him with a knee. So I think it's still the same thing he was going through before. And whatever happened in Brooklyn there wasn't a concern, obviously, if it's not listed, I'd imagine. So, yeah, I don't think anyone has any problem with him sitting out as long as he needs to there. Again, he didn't look good last week physically. So I think it's important that he takes some extra time off here now. Though our guy Cam with Celtics Lab made a good point earlier that he can only miss 4 more games before he's ineligible for all NBA and all the awards. So I do think they're going to have to pick and choose those a little bit. There's 13 games left. So I think that's plenty of rest that you can mix in there if there's only 4 games left that he can miss there. But it is going to put an onus on him playing quite a few of these games down the stretch just to become eligible for that award. I had forgotten about that thing. And obviously Tatum's going to get to that point easily. But Brown's kind of up against it right now with some of the time he's missed this year.
We'll get into that a little bit later. Let's listen to KP, and then we'll jump back into things a little bit here.
Noah's standing by as well, so we'll hear from her here in a second as well.
Yep. Whoa, we lost it.
Feeling all right. Feeling a little bit better with each day, I would say. Energy is going back up. Yeah, but still, for sure, working my way back into to the best shape.
They hit a lot of threes on Saturday in that first game against you guys. They were saying you're going to give up certain threes to certain guys. What's that balance for you? You know, you're in the drop all the time, trying to protect the rim, but also be able to prevent some of those threes too.
Yeah, no, I mean, we, as you said, we don't want to give up threes to anybody, but, you know, most of the time I'm guarding somebody that's a non-shooter, you know, so yeah, you just have to be mindful of who we're guarding. And closing out, and I think today too we could have done a better job, myself especially some of the closeouts, but yeah, definitely I think we did a better job than the first game, but we can still improve.
How difficult is it for a rookie to come into a team like this, and what has Baylor done throughout the season to kind of be ready for the opportunity?
Yeah, he's been great, honestly. You could tell early in the season he wasn't as comfortable yet, which is completely normal, you know, coming into a team like this, getting that first opportunity. It's tough, you know, it's tough, and
They showed my tweet up there.
Maybe, you know,
Or
just
maybe I
have
want to be
this
on the
type of game, but the more experience he's getting, and being in the main, playing in the G League, and then coming back up and getting another shot, and there you go. He's, you know, one thing you can't say about him is that he doesn't play hard. He plays really hard, and I think the fans see that and they appreciate that. And on top of that, it's like a game like this offensively is like, you know, just beautiful to watch, and that was a beautiful game from him.
How have you seen his confidence grow over the season?
Yeah, I would say with each game he's getting more and more comfortable, and today you could tell after each three his confidence just kept on growing, and you know, transition and pump fake this, sidestep, hit another three, like he was just rolling, and confidence was sky high, and feeling good, and those kind of moments are always like special to watch, and crowd, especially to have a game like this at home in front of our crowd, you know, it's that was like he's this kind of game I think will stay in his memory for his whole career.
You guys got to 50 wins tonight. Is that a milestone?
No, we didn't set a milestone to get to 50 or a specific number. Still, how many games do we have left? 14 or something?
Something. 70, 69, so
13.
13, so maybe we should win the rest of 13 games and we'd end up with 63. That would be a decent number, but we don't have any specific goal. We just, you know, go game by game and yeah, see where we end up.
How much run would you like to get before the postseason?
Yeah, I wanna definitely play. I need to get in the best shape. Now after the illness, it's taking me a little bit, but
the illness.
But yeah, with each day a little bit better, and somehow the schedule kind of working out for me right now, because we had one game, 2 days in between a game. Now again we have 2 days, you know, which is nice. This doesn't happen often, and it's actually perfect timing for me. So just working my way back to the best shape, and look forward to, you know, having my best shape now going into the postseason.
Once you guard the non-shooters, and, you know, even tonight you switched and, you know, recovered for a block from the post on that play. How versatile do you feel like you've become in SLT uniform? How have they kind of challenged you defensively?
Yeah, that's one thing I'm looking always to improve. Just learning from a guy like Al, who's is switching 1 through 5, and one of the best defenders on our team, honestly. Has a lot of little tricks that he does, and little this, and hold a little bit here, and they don't call it. And Al is so smart and anticipates things so well that that's somebody I watch and try to learn from. And then obviously I have my rim protection, which is a part of my game that I need to keep, but I want to improve the rest of the things, and sometimes that is getting out more and being just a little bit closer to the shooter, better contest here, and being in a better position there. These little things that I can keep improving and to become an even more complete defender.
You guys head out on a season-long.
All right. That was Porzingis for the most part. Good to see KP back in the building, but even better to see Noa Dalzell on our screens. If she looks familiar, it's because you might have just saw her on your television screen, folks. Noa, thank you for taking the time and joining your old friends back here. First of all, tell us how that. Give us a quick rundown on how that experience was, and then would love to get your thoughts on this Celtics win tonight.
Yeah, it's great to be back. No, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I've never done TV before, so just a little bit of a learning curve. They were putting things in my ears. I didn't really know what to expect. I'm used to Amit's AirPods, so that was the hardest part. Plus also just a lot of ad commercial breaks, So I'm used to, we talk for an hour and a half straight, and over there you can't talk for 6 minutes straight. So I had to be mindful of that. But I was hoping the whole game, I was like, please give me a really fun game. Give me a Peyton Pritchard domination, a Gordon Walsh game, a Baylor Scheierman game. So I'll take what we got tonight. I thought this was one of the more electric environments that we've seen in recent weeks. And it's just when you feel like somebody's having a moment, a career moment. And tonight we saw that from Baylor. It's just fun to be around. And I think the fans can pick up on it. And you could feel it's the first time he's feeling like this, right? So I was excited that I could talk about that on NBC, and then I could talk about that here as well.
That's what the end of the season's about.
Yeah.
Baylor nights. I want a Kada night. I was
Not
bummed
a Kada
about
night.
Kada tonight, but all these guys are going to get opportunities. I saw Miles Norris here. Peterson was here. JD. You're going to see all of these guys, I think, down the stretch here. And more Tatum rest nights, more Brown nights, the better, I feel like. And, I felt like they were going to lose this game for a while tonight.
Yeah, I was concerned.
But they keep winning these games, and it feels like they're almost in better position to win if those guys were kind of on the edge of playing, or maybe not. Maybe I'll jump in last second here. If those guys just sit down and let the guys who really want to play, I feel like they're almost in a better position to win these games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key to last year's championship team is that it wasn't just that Tatum and Brown had great seasons and the best players were great. They were able to win games routinely down 3 or 4 starters. There was streaks where they were they won 8 in a row and they were down. They were swapping out who was resting every other night because they already solidified their spot in the standings. And so now heading into this stretch here, they're about to go on a 6-game road trip against 5 teams that are not currently in the playoffs. You want to see that you still have that winning DNA regardless of who's out there. And I thought that tonight was a perfect example of you have enough to beat the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, I respect them as a team. They're not one of those embarrassing tanking teams that comes in and just gives you nothing. But without Tatum and Brown, you look at the starting lineup. You have Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, Porzingis, Pritchard's coming off the bench. It's just, you have so much talent. So you still have to find a way. And it's going to be different guys every night. And over the last few weeks, it's been the Sam Hauser game, the Pritchard and Derek White game. Tonight was Baylor Scheierman. Everybody needs to have their moment because in the playoffs, you don't know who you're going to need. And this moment's going to be really important to help them carry their confidence over.
That was one of the really cool things about last year's team was that they recognized opportunity and seized the moment consistently. And that's very unusual for NBA teams to do that, particularly to do it with so many different types of players with different strengths of making things happen. And that to me is why these games to me matter as much as any game that you'll see this year, because Jimmy and I talked about this earlier. You're trying to build this team towards winning a championship while also developing talent along the way. And that is a hard thing to do at the same time. And the Celtics, these are the nights where you can see the fruits of that labor come into play. I mean, Scheierman had a great game, not because he's just knocking down shots, but because he's been building up to this opportunity all season long. It was just a matter of when is Joe going to let him run free in the yard and just let him play. And he did that in this game. And Scheierman, to his credit, did a lot of good things besides knocking. I was glad in Joe's postgame when he talked about Scheierman, he didn't just focus on his shot making. He focused on the little things that he was doing, because he's been doing those little things when he's had spot duty, whether it's tipping a ball out for an offensive rebound that leads to a three, trying to draw a charge, trying to do something to put his imprint on the game.
His game's awesome.
Yeah.
There's so many layers to it too. And when you draft a guy like that at 30, again, I was so excited that he was there. I was surprised he was there. I think everyone had him going a little higher than that. And then I was just telling them I was disappointed that he didn't break through early, or even in the first half, or pretty much the entirety of this year. He's spending in Maine or on the bench. And I know we discussed it a little bit earlier when we were up there in Maine. I was like, man, I thought this guy was going to impact the team this year. And you were like, it doesn't always happen right away. I think tonight showed that there's still some good hope there, even though he pretty much redshirted this year.
Here's what I'll say. This is maybe a little bit of a hot take. I think Baylor Scheierman is one of the hardest playing players that I've ever seen play basketball at any level. Genuinely, going up to Maine, that was all I could think about. I was thinking to myself, this guy's a first-round draft pick who's in the G League right now. There's lots. I'm not even going to acknowledge that. And
where's the
genuinely,
nuclear bomb sound right now?
That is,
yeah.
My computer
And you guys
is
can clip
literally
that and people
melting
can-
after that
What?
tape. My computer
I think he
is
works
burning
hard,
up.
but
KG, Gary Payton, Baylor Scheierman.
Well, I didn't want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys can roast me, but
You can't.
I'm
you
I'm
can't-
standing by it. I'm standing by it.
How
You go
about
watch
can't
him
talk
in
about
G League.
named
KG
Nobody
Jaylen
is
Brown?
playing-
Scheierman.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to
that.
hear about in the NBA Finals how hard you play. Everybody plays hard in the NBA Finals. Do you play hard on a Tuesday night in an empty high school gym in Portland, Maine, as a first-round draft pick playing against guys that are never going to be in the NBA? That is
Do
what
you have
makes
a
you
choice?
the hardest playing basketball player. Yeah,
Noah.
you do, because I go up there and I watch guys all the time who don't play like that. Like that was a
Noah.
separating factor. I'm telling you. I'm not going to put. Yes, Jimmy.
Did you say that on TV tonight?
I did not say that on TV. I was so lukewarm over
Okay,
there.
good stuff for us,
Yeah.
Jimmy.
I didn't
Okay,
want- I didn't
good.
want to
Okay,
you
good.
guys.
So
Come on.
so you might
Jimmy's
get
like-
invited back to that show then. Yeah,
Listen,
good.
you can disagree with me. You can disagree with me, and if it takes you longer to get to where I'm at right now, that's okay. But he
Wow.
dives on the floor for every
Wow.
loose ball. He's drawing more charges than anybody on the team
Hey,
per.
hey, she's saying homeschool. Well, I'll wait for you to catch up homeschool.
Yeah, you can catch
We'll
up.
wait.
If John was here,
she's
John
been
would
on-
not.
she's been
John
on
would not be
TV
happy
for-
for now.
She's been on TV for 5 minutes and she's already big timing me, Sherrod, in front of all my friends, just like that. She's already big timing me.
I'm standing by it.
I'll say
you guys
this.
can laugh.
I'm not going to
Oh
say
my
anything about
God.
how hard he
How would
plays.
you rank his work ethic against a guy, say Jaylen Brown?
I'm not comparing their work ethic. I'm saying he does not take a possession off. I have never seen him take a possession off in my time watching him. And granted, like I only watched him play 20 games, right? But it's pretty remarkable. Like you really, especially in the G League, I'm telling you guys, you watch G League games, guys, they miss a shot, they feel iced out by their teammate, they take a possession off, they get backdoor cut, they know it's okay because few people are watching. Like the margin of error over there is pretty high. And he never cut a corner over there. And I thought to myself, like, I don't know if the shot's going to come around. There are athletic things, there's quickness, but that aspect of it, he totally has on lock. He does. And I've been watching other guys. I'm not throwing anybody else under the bus, but I'm just going to elevate Baylor here.
I like the rebounding. I think it shows in that spot. And he's a physical, talented rebounder too. And that's always stood out to me. But to me, it's the passing. And that's when he gets into the flow of the offense, when he gets into this role eventually. That's
He's
what
a
I
top
want
3
to see.
passer of all time.
He's the most dazzling passer
Ever?
On the
Dazzling.
bench, on this team. Yeah, I mean,
We're getting it all
he does
tonight.
provide-
We're-
The hot takes are just
does-
flying off the
Sherrod,
shelves
they're-
tonight.
They're playing.
I'm
all the
already
hits,
scared about how
man.
the show's going to be clipped up by Ahmed. So.
No, yeah.
They're playing
To
all the
me,
hits.
it's more the skill set. The playing hard, I guess, that stands out a little bit.
So
but
is
there's
this
a
like
skill
Hot
set
Take
here that I
Tuesday?
believe in.
Is that what we have
Sherrod,
here? Hot
we
Take
forget.
Tuesday?
No,
Sherrod,
I
we
never have
forget.
a hot take. You guys always want me to have a hot take. I finally have one. It doesn't. It's not
I'll
going
let
on.
you have it.
No.
I wouldn't go that far, but
Sherrod, we
to me, it's
forget.
the skill set.
These are the Scheierman insiders. These guys follow Scheierman around the
follow him
country
everywhere.
practically. In
Yeah.
fact, I remember Bobby was live tweeting, I think step by step, Scheierman's game in Maine to the point where I think his mom was a little concerned for Scheierman's health and well-being up there.
Who's
So-
this guy stalking you?
Nobody knows Scheierman more than these two. So I believe them when they say he's a dazzling passer and the hardest working guy in the gym. You kind of have to be in order to make it this far.
And I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't know. Like, obviously, this year he wasn't in position to do it. And again, I'll say this Noah. It's
what,
tough
what
when
do you
you're
define as
23, when
making
you're
it?
24.
Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Him making it?
Carving out an NBA role, having a consistent
Oh, he's gonna make it.
rotation
make it.
spot here. Yeah,
He's gonna
I
make it,
think next
Bobby.
year there's
I'm
room
not
on
going to
this.
compliment him again the rest of the broadcast, but I do think he's going to make it.
Well, you shouldn't have said that in Joe's presence earlier because
Well, I wasn't. I didn't go to Joe.
Yeah. So
He's gonna make it.
yeah.
Joe called him a rookie, and that was about it.
And that's all I want to know
That's
going into
strategic.
next year is that he's going to be part of this thing. And I think this, and my favorite thing that Joe said, Noah, he said Derek went through this. Tillman went through this to some degree. Keita went through the G League. There's a lot of guys on the roster who have pretty steady lockdown rotation spots and on an NBA team who did what Scheierman's doing this year. And so I think that gives you confidence too, that you cannot be ready for year one and then be ready for year two. You see it a little bit with Walsh. Now he's kind of taking the next step. And now I think Scheierman going into next year will take that step. And it's the shooting, Jimmy, right? They want shooters. They want guys who can knock down shots if you make them pay. That last shot he took,
oh my God,
completely ignoring him.
Oh boy.
And he can knock that down. So
he couldn't resist.
I'm hopeful, but it's one game.
Hot take Tuesday.
I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know if you guys.
I can't. I don't even know what you guys are laughing at. I don't even want to know actually.
But the big boss man himself, John Zannis, he heard too much.
No.
He must have heard too much.
I just wanted to.
That's John Zannis' music, folks.
John, I stand by it, and we can debate
I
it.
just wanted to hop in on the hyperbole report. No, Noah, I backed you, and I said I don't hate this take. You guys.
Oh, you back me?
I did. I said I don't hate this take.
Well, now
You
he's
said
latching
top
on to
three.
Noah because yeah.
Okay.
Because Noah's the only one on
Noah's rising
Noah's
to
the only
the
one on
top here.
television tonight, so
Yeah,
I'm hitching
exactly.
my wagon to her
Can I-
star.
Can I get it?
I wasn't
again?
saying any of this on television.
You said top 3 hardest playing player.
Okay, let me
you've seen.
define by hardest playing player. I mean percent of time on the court that they are playing 100%. That I'm not getting into what they do in the off season. I'm not getting into whether they get to the gym at 6 a.m. I don't know. I haven't reported on him that extensively. I'm saying I've never seen him take a possession off in the G League where everybody is constantly taking possessions off. And that might not mean anything to you guys, but
Okay, that's a fair. Listen, you've seen it.
Pritchard's one.
Pritchard's up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not naming my 3. That's all you guys are getting from me today.
Dylan.
And I wonder if I would have said that if
Dylan,
John was on the
Pritchard.
show at the time.
Well, Scheierman said this is a
And
top 3
Scheierman.
crowd he's seen, so he's in on it.
I might have sat on that take if I knew.
You
John
were
was on the show.
you were taking liberties, yeah, because it's like I'm the guy protecting the paint. Like you there's some stuff you just can't throw up there, right? No, I don't hate it, but you know
I
what?
would have said top 10.
What I do, no. I honestly, I didn't jump into to bash the take. It was just FOMO. You guys seemed like you were having a good time, so I figured I'd just jump in and say hi. I don't have a ton to add. I just wanted to
Happy
hang out.
birthday to the twins, John. We will
Thank
say
you
that.
guys, and to
Yeah.
Brian Scalabrini.
Yeah, and to Scal. Yeah, of course.
Oh,
We
yeah.
shared that birthday. Scal was
Yeah,
enjoying
taking
the
it all in the
birthday.
night. Yeah.
Yeah, at the game.
Backwards hat.
Happy belated birthday to our good friend Danny Ainge. Birthday was yesterday, St. Patty's Day.
Danny Ainge, thank you.
Yeah.
Happy
And our
birthday.
good friend Terry Rozier, also St. Patty's Day.
Oof. He needs
Who
a
else
lot
we
of
got?
luck. Terry
Let's do a
Rozier
whole
needs a
list.
lot of luck
Yes.
this
yes.
coming year.
Yes.
And that was the
Tatum
birth-
just turned 27.
Okay, a lot of birthdays. A lot of birthdays.
So now the birthday report is done.
John, did you get a chance to watch any of this one, or
I watched a good bit of the kind of the Scheierman takeover, all the way through, and it was just great vibes too, to the point that like you really did expect almost every shot after the one that he hit to end that third quarter to go in. Like that was just he was just it was just fun to ride the wave a little bit. And again, I saw Noah said this a little bit on the NBC show, but I mean, I'm sure you guys talked about it as well. That's the best part about these games when you have the stars sit. Nothing matters. I know what Missoula said pregame with nothing's locked in. Of course it's locked in. You're the 2 seed. Cleveland's the 1 seed. There's nothing really to play for. This is more fun. You want to see a game where 4 starters sit. I want to see the JD Davison, Baylor Scheierman. I want to see the whole thing. I want to see the main Celtic takeover. You just saw it in Indiana
Yeah.
They were down 5 starters, and they beat Denver.
Denver. Yeah.
That's way more fun than watching Tatum like the other night not really feel like playing, take 80% of the game off, show up for 2 minutes and play. No, just sit, let the kids play. It doesn't matter at all. So you love that. And that's the thing. From these moments are born opportunity. And so like the Scheierman thing is fun for a night, but it's also like, looking ahead, it's hope. It's like, oh, what if we got this guy? What if we got that small forward? What if we got the wing to come off the bench and to help out here? What if it's something? And just getting that little taste is going to change how you're going to view him going forward, him heading into the offseason, their general outlook of things. So getting these little flashes in this game, this real game experience for these guys is great. So I love it. I want to see more guys sit and more opportunity like this. I want to see Scheierman start a game. I think I love that stuff.
And it's easy to forget, but he's Brad's first round pick ever.
Yes,
this is
I
the
know.
first guy that has pedigree, potential, the ability to actually become a rotation player for this team long term. Walsh was a flyer. JD was that first flyer deep in the second round. Kata even. A very deep pick in a draft, two-way guy. So they're taking a lot of flyers on guys who have gone through Maine. And you almost forget with Scheierman, because he went through Maine as well, that this is a consensus first-round pick guy with a real skill set. And again, the shooting, the passing, the rebounding, it's all there. And again, I'm a little disappointed it didn't flash more often in year one, but the fact that you're seeing it now, better late than never.
And I think he's looked really good in recent weeks. The other reality is he hasn't really had much of a chance, because if you look at this roster, like, who is he going to play over? It's not, he didn't get drafted into a situation where he has a real pathway to significant minutes off the top. And also, like, regardless of whether he's older, and I said this earlier in the year, like, there is still an adjustment period to playing in the NBA regardless of that, just because it's a different speed, it's a different game. And so I think he's right where I kind of expected him to be at this point. I don't think he seems behind schedule. The fact that over the past few weeks, whenever he has played, I think he's impressed for the most part. I would expect him to be in the rotation next year. Like, that's kind of how I feel right now going into the summer.
I hope so.
No, I don't think. I think the book on him was what it was, in the sense of like he's got a good court sense, and he's got the shot, but really, does he have the foot speed to be able to keep up in the NBA? And there is a cutoff. It doesn't matter how good you are, and so I take that back. You have to be exceptional if it's really, really, really difficult for you to be able to athletically hang in there. So like, it's just harder to succeed if you have a physical or athletic profile like him. But I think people were expecting, well, he'll hit open shots when they come to him, but he was so dreadfully bad from three in the early part of his career, and again, he hasn't had very many opportunities.
Right.
That was kind of like, wait, can he not shoot also? Is this a Neesmith thing again? Like, did we draft a guy who was supposed to be a lights out shooter and he's not? And I think that was the only thing people were like, oh, he can't even do the thing that he's supposed to do, like at an elite level. So seeing him shoot the way he shot tonight, getting those shooters roll, doing the little Hauser shot from the corner where he catches it basically at his eyebrow and releases it without having to pull it back down. Things like that. It's like, okay, there's that thing that he does, which is great. But it's almost unfair to judge him on his early struggles, because there was just no opportunity. Was it Pritchard that didn't hit any threes early? I know Grant went through that stretch one time. Yeah. Again,
Jamal
it's just
Murray.
it's not fair to judge. There's not enough of a snapshot. It's just a snapshot. As you guys said, it's a red shirt year. It's a red shirt year.
When you get two shots and you miss both and you're done, that's just no way to play. And for him too, no, he's an off the dribble shooter. He's not a catch and shoot guy. So he has more opportunities to run offensive sets, create his own shot. I think those are going to be situations he's more comfortable to produce in.
Yeah, and like it was a very limited sample that he got early on here, and he was shooting well in the G League from the start. And so you saw the versatility. He had like one no dip three. Like, those are the kinds of moments that it gives you. It gives you some, like, you don't want to go too crazy, but it gives you this feeling of like, okay, what can this guy become? And he has Sam Hauser, who literally has paved the path. How do you go from being a guy that has some athletic limitations, a really good 3-point shooter, time in Maine to being a rotation player. And obviously they're not the same player. They have a lot of differences to their game.
Hauser was undrafted. Scheierman probably has more skill than Hauser did coming in.
Yeah, I think the thing with Hauser is that Hauser is an elite three-point shooter. We've talked about it. I don't think that anybody else can compare on that side. You know, I don't think Baylor is where Hauser is, but he has a lot of other advantages that Hauser doesn't have. And you saw some of those in various moments over these past few weeks. So yeah, fun game. Best case scenario, I think, for these weeks is like every night you want to have somebody have their moment. And there's some guys that still haven't had their moment. And I think they need that one moment going into the postseason, going into the offseason, going into next year, because it doesn't totally matter in the scheme of things. But to that person,
Can
like
we get a
their
Tillman game?
I didn't want to name names, but like Xavier Tillman hasn't had one impactful moment here this
Nobody
season.
needs a game more than Tillman.
Yeah.
Look, guys, enough. That
Not everybody gets a game.
That's
Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
That's it. We've done that, right?
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, meaning like
sad reality. No,
you don't know what you have in Baylor Scheierman, so you're giving him opportunity to see what he has. I'm afraid, sadly, Tillman's lack of playing time has nothing to do with them just not giving him a shot. It's the fact that they gave him a shot that he's not playing. I think he's proven that he doesn't deserve the minutes, so I don't see it coming unless if I'll put it this way: Xavier Tillman starts playing meaningful minutes, everything has gone wrong at this point. So
he's finding something out there.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, I honestly don't.
Okay.
I think
don't forget that 3 in the finals, John. That was the same guy. I'm concerned about him too. I'm not gonna say I don't think anything good is coming out of him this season, but I'm just gonna acknowledge the fact that
He's your fifth center. What do you want?
I don't know that. I don't think
it might not even be that.
I was gonna say that's an upgrade, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I have to think the knee or whatever it was never was right.
Yeah.
He just doesn't look right. They know it. I mean, he can't get into games when they're down 3 and 4 rotation players. He's way buried. So I don't see that happening. But I'll ask you guys again. You know you're going short rotation in the playoffs. I mean, you're obviously not expecting to see Scheierman in any meaningful games when you get into the postseason, right? I don't even know if you're expecting to see Keita.
Keita would have the best shot, and they keep doing the Cornet Keita thing. It's the third time we've seen it in a week, so I think that's building toward trying to work in some amount of Keita minutes, or at least having him ready to play in that situation. The concerning thing is we're seeing more and more games now where he just doesn't look up to speed with what they're doing.
Well, neither did Luke.
Lineups.
Neither did Luke. Joe went away from all of them.
Yeah,
they
those guys
got
playing
stuck
together
there. Yeah, they were at 12 and 9 minutes, and they stayed there. They never. Yeah.
And you were locked into this game.
The thing about the Nets, though, is they don't play.
When
centers.
I watch, I pay attention.
He can't help himself. He's watching some patterns. I thought he was off this game.
Yeah.
I think this is just kind of a matchup thing too, though, for those guys, because the Nets play 5 wings and take their center off the floor. So all of a sudden you have like Zaire Williams going at Keita and Martin going at Luke. So they just have wings attacking the Celtics bigs from every direction. And it made sense to just scrap the double big stuff and go small in this one. So it doesn't make me think all these guys are screwed, but it wasn't a good look tonight.
No, and John, to answer your question, like who else has a shot here at the rotation? I think if Baylor Scheierman is playing minutes, it means that somebody important got hurt. So I hope that doesn't necessarily, I hope that doesn't happen. But I do think that I wouldn't have expected Xavier Tillman to play minutes in the NBA Finals last year, like based off of how little he was contributing since
I want
to
see
traded.
like 5
So you
more
just don't
big
know.
Scheierman games before we even discuss.
No, I'm
that,
not saying
yeah.
I don't. Again, if I had to put money on it, he's not playing in the playoffs. But you just never know what can happen, and to have a bunch of guys that are 0% ready for a big moment is not a good thing.
Who has a better shot, Craig or Scheierman?
Probably in a limited stint, probably Craig, just because he's been there.
Yeah.
I think so.
Can I tell you what fans are going to do? Fans are going to start questioning whether or not Scheierman should take Hauser's minutes. And I'm not.
I know.
I'm not.
Why would they do that?
The fans are so quick on Hauser.
Because you want to. Because one, Hauser's been a little bit of a disappointment this year, and 2, you look at a guy like Scheierman with his pedigree as a first-round draft pick, and you're thinking potentially higher ceiling, and you're wondering, did he unlock it yet? Can he jump in there? I'm not doing that. I'm saying I believe that's going to be those conversations
I
are going to be
remember
had.
going into last year, a lot of fans rushed to say Shvi Mihailuk was going to pass Hauser, and look what happened there. I don't think there's any.
Hauser?
I'm concerned about Hauser, given some of the ways he's looked this year, but not to where I'd say Scheierman could step into his role. They're different players. They're
Hauser's
very different
back to
players.
shooting 40% from three.
Yeah.
Hauser's also a victim of this thing that I'm going to name this the Jaylen Brown, like, discrimination or whatever it is, where there's a certain play that a guy does that's super frustrating to people. Like when Jaylen dribbles out of bounds or dribbles off his foot, people are like slamming their TVs, like they can't watch it. I think Nimi has some of those plays where he's just so frustrating around the rim. I think when Hauser gets scored on or when Hauser misses 2 open threes, people are like, I can't with this guy. And so the leashes are so short. Those 3 guys I think are the most like the least subject to any sort of freedom around, like give them a second, because there's a body of work with this guy. Like, he's been a 40+% three-point shooter his entire career. He had the best defensive rating in the NBA last year, and he's been fine this year. He hasn't had
No
a
one
terrible.
can replace him either.
I don't know what it is. Like, I'll look on Twitter and it's like 2 minutes into his stint and they're like, trade this guy. Because like he missed 2 threes and like got scored on once.
My concern all year has been he was so important to the run last year, and you're so thin at wing that if he can't go or he's not himself, there's no replacement. Like Craig can't do it clearly. I think we're seeing Scheierman and Walsh aren't ready to do it. So what you're going to do is go double big. And double big can be great in certain matchups, but in other ones, you're like, all right. And obviously it's going to take Luke being able to play alongside Porzingis and play alongside Horford for long stretches there. You're a little thin, John. So one injury, one guy not playing right at all, or a rotation cut down, it just doesn't look great against real competition.
Scheierman enters the conversation for next man up, in that if you got to play someone, is it Craig, Walsh, or Scheierman? You know, like he might be able to put himself into that convo should that opportunity arise with another. But you got to do it again, right? You want to see. I want to see this repeat itself. I want to see a 20-minute game from him or a 25-minute.
And think
game.
of the defense too, like the level they hold these guys to defensively. If you watch the Brooklyn game on Saturday, he was completely lost in that game in the fourth. He's not close to being able to play playoff minutes, and that's not a knock on him. We've seen 1 or 2, I guess, great games from him at the tail end of his first NBA season. I put it at like 0.1% chance he impacts the playoffs, and that's fine.
Oh, yeah, it's probably lower than that. What I do think is going to make a tremendous impact on the market here, as it always does, is, of course, our CLNS Garden Report bracket. That's what we're doing, and I'm introducing it here.
The bracket is out.
The bracket is out, and as you can see here, the seedings are in place. Vegan Brownies slots in as a 1 seed in the phenomenal region, taking on Untrained Eye in the first round. Blame Pie versus the 4-5. Blame Pie versus Damn It Ahmed as a 3 seed, taking on Noah's Halloween Candy. It's Halloween Candy. Captain Jalen is a 2 seed, taking on Luke's $20 million.
That's me.
A late entry. This one, boy, did this get hot. Toothpaste Sandwich gets the 1 seed.
Sometimes those late bloomers, they just ride into
the third center region, takes on Credit
Jimmy's.
Cake. Yeah. You're muted.
Which, by the way, where is the credit cake tonight?
I'll get it. We'll get it next
Good question.
time. Ahmed's been really busy. We'll get a credit. Damn it, Ahmed.
Scheierman.
Damn it, Ahmed.
It's a big Scheierman cake.
You're muted. Takes on Toast Brain, also a late edition in a 4-5. That's Jealous. That's Jealous. Takes on Tatum's Lullaby, and Laxicadaisical takes on Noah's Tatum. Noah's Tatum Hate as a 7 seed.
So who won last year?
Third center won last year.
So third center's won. Phenomenal's won. I mean, I've dominated this thing, though. You're gonna have to.
I don't even know what is this. Who's voting on these things?
I do want to point out that, Bobby,
all the viewers,
both of these sayings exist.
Is it a good thing to dominate
fun of you saying them, not because you.
There's still things I said.
Not because you put them into the world to be entertaining. You were being serious, and then we teased you.
Hold on.
We made it.
Right.
Our ridicule was the flavor. We flavored your sayings with ridicule.
How about we
Yeah,
throw
Bobby, for the
Scheierman
record,
top 3
for the
hardest
record,
playing
Bobby,
player?
you didn't know any of these were ridiculous until we like made you aware.
Phenomenal was.
I don't see a winner here.
You're a
know?
walking top
Uh,
1 seed.
I
Toothpaste sandwich.
Toothpaste
Oh,
sandwich.
there's-
I'm quitting the show. I'm just putting it right now. If Noah Hates Tatum wins, I'm quitting the show.
Okay.
You're lucky I didn't do Noah
Bobby-
Hates Abby. Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
People were asking. I was complaining about the Noah Hates Tatum thing because Jimmy texted me before the game that he told NBC to put Noah Hates Tatum on my nameplate, which I was like, knowing Jimmy, maybe that's true. I don't even know. And so I would sound
I
off
texted
pregame about how
Max. Yeah.
So I still don't know where it came from. So
I
you
knew
want me
at
off
one
the show.
point,
This is
I
your chance.
forget.
You can vote.
This
for
is
that.
it. We
Who
got
do I have
to.
winning?
I don't know.
gonna go
This is
Captain
wide
Jalen.
open. I will say
I'm going with toothpaste sandwich.
there is a lot of parity this time around, and some
Yeah,
of
it
this
is.
Sandwich, dark.
It's good for the league.
if you weren't in the show,
Good for the league.
some of them carry, right? And they have and they reach more people. If you
Right.
weren't in the show for toothpaste sandwich, it might not make
Some
sense
people
to
might
you.
not know what any of these. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you weren't in the Laxicadaisical show, that might also not make sense to you. So
That was
some of
a
this
dark
stuff,
horse.
like
That was
Noah's
Damn it,
Tatum
Ahmed.
hatred, has been going
Damn
on
it,
all
Ahmed is
season.
my dark horse.
It also
Yeah.
doesn't. It
But
doesn't
like
Damn it,
Tatum,
Ahmed
Tatum,
could win.
Tatum
Absolutely.
Lullaby. Tatum Lullaby is a pretty strong 60. That's a pretty funny thing.
Well,
to
when
do.
we talk about
So some
what
of them are
appears
one-offs.
most often.
Yeah.
So what appears most often? Jimmy says "Damn it, Ahmed" every night.
Yeah, I like
know.
Damon Ahmed.
I like Damon
we
Ahmed
get
as,
a vote?
as something. Yeah.
We can vote.
Okay.
So, John, you
I'm
want to
looking forward to
explain
casting
how
my
the
vote.
voting process works?
So we are going to later this week we will put up matchups that you will vote on in the show. We'll also put them on our Twitter, and we will compile the votes after X amount of time. Each one's going to sit up for possibly the duration of a game or into the next one. We'll do more than one matchup per show. It'll usually be like first half of the show, second half of the show. We'll compile them all. Someone's moving on, someone's going home. It's as simple as that. We'll whittle it down to the great 8 heading into next week. So we'll go from 16 to 8 by the end of this weekend. And that's what we will be doing here. And we'll get all the way down to the final 4 eventually in the championship, and we will see what happens. Just so you know, why aren't things like Fax My Dog or Brockton Wi-Fi or Boomer Rage or some of those, if they're old and kind of OG ones and they've kind of run their course, we switch them out with new ones, and that's what we've done in this case.
I think maybe next year, John, we'll have enough like all-timers where we can maybe
we will do a legends
a
bracket.
section of the legends. Yeah, like a section of it.
Yeah.
Maybe just a quadrant, if you will, of the legends ones.
Yeah.
That's where you got to look out for phenomenal.
Yeah, some of the hammers come in, Fax My Dog, phenomenal.
The first bracket was loaded because we had a lot of stuff.
Wi-Fi.
Brockton Wi-Fi, yeah. Oh yeah. Noah Hates Tatum will probably end up in that one.
That's great.
Noah Hates Tatum. That one might.
Anyways,
if only it had any root. One day someone can explain to me where it came
It's
from.
true.
No. But
Hey,
I just
roll out
it
this
never
bracket.
it didn't come out of anything. People just started saying it one day under John's
did.
orders, I think. So
They ran. I didn't do it. The chat did it to you.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I
think
didn't
it
know.
was
I did
kind of a
not
chat
order the
thing.
code red. The chat just was like, "Wow, Noah hates Tatum," and they just ran with it.
Yeah, and then we
I don't
posted.
know
them
about
up
that.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fairly
Feels like
certain.
John
Maybe we should blame. Damn it, Ahmed. We'll blame Ahmed.
We'll blame Amit.
What was on it?
I'm being informed by Jimmy that the terrible things have happened here. We didn't tell you about another
it,
one of our
Amit. Damn
What
it,
do I?
Amit.
How many jobs did you have here? 2 ad reads and a bracket. I'm here at 1:38 into the show doing both of these things.
A lot of things happened between our
goodness.
45-minute mark and like right now where we're getting into opportunity.
Well, get down with game time, people. Okay, you know it by now. It's a great ticket app here. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Go. Celtics are hitting the road. That's going to be a little bit tougher to do, but there's plenty of stuff here, and I got it. Damn it, Amit.
Damn it, Amit.
He did it to me.
This whole StreamYard's all screwed.
I'm just cracking up in the corner right now.
There it is. Game time. Check it out. Sign up. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. All-in pricing, panoramic views from your seats, not just games. You can go do it, check out concerts or anything that you want to do. There's a lot of great shows and a lot of great acts coming in. The summer concert season. You want to get involved with that as well. So again, check it out. Game time. Super fun, super easy. Download that app. I've used it multiple times myself. Use code CLNS, $20 off your first deposit. Guys, I extended this show beyond probably where you wanted to take it. So I'll ask you if you want to have any final thoughts, and then we can wrap it up. Noah's got to go to the NBC after party anyway.
That's true.
So small thing tonight. We've talked about the last handful of games. More Drew involvement, more point guard play from him tonight. What do you have? 7-8 assists. That's a big thing to watch for down the stretch here.
But those threes, Bobby, and Bobby Manning's going to dig deep into this 3-point problem. You guys will get it. Get a little taste of that probably tomorrow. The Drew Holiday 3-point. I keep waiting for him to break out of this malaise, and I'm putting myself on the record here saying I'm not concerned. And then I see an 0 for 5 night. Or fall that came after a 1 for 5 night, and I'm feeling uneasy.
I think a good answer to that though is putting the ball in his hands, because the problem is teams aren't guarding him. You have to guard a guy with the ball in his hands, and when he's moving it around, when he's getting downhill, when he's making cuts, I think he can counteract some of those shooting struggles. But it took a long time for them to figure out that was the solution. So I hope they can develop that a little bit over the last 10 games here.
Last thing I'll say is just, Kristaps Porzingis missed his 2.5 weeks. Guy could teach a course at this point on how to come back from extended absences. I thought that he looked great both of these games. Defensively, rim protection, just like they were gonna probably be down by 15 if he wasn't in this game. Like, he really kept them in it. And so again, I get nervous when they rely on him just because he has been so in and out during his Celtics tenure. But with 13 games here left to go, like, fingers crossed he can work his way back into shape and be a big factor in the playoffs. But I was like genuinely worried about him with this illness, because I thought to myself, like, if he has something that could linger for a few months,
I told you, Jimmy,
or something serious, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of a worrier when it comes to those kinds of things. But I'm very relieved to see him back in action and playing the way that he's been playing over these last few games.
There's a lot of concern on this beat.
I was worried about Kristaps.
One of the things not shown on this lower third here, this graphic about Porzingis, I think it was 3 assists he finished with. 2 of them were one-handed catch passes
I've been
to
talking a little bit throughout the year.
Obviously the Scheierman one, but then one to the corner. Was it Craig? Where he just catches it and redirects it. And I think, Bobby, you tweeted it, and that's why I wanted to bring it up about him wanting to, like, improve he's looking at a guy like Jokic and says, I want to get a little bit more of that.
A couple times this year. Yeah. And I mentioned it to him again tonight. He's like, you're seeing it. Like, he's trying to get that going. And
that would be great.
Like 3-4 times this year. And he's a good passer. They don't use it a ton, but he has some vision out there. He's not Rob. Remember what Rob used to do? Or
Rob was great.
Jokic, certainly. But
let's
got
think
some
about
touch
Rob for a little.
There. Please play this weekend, Rob. Please.
No, it was good. You like to see that from him. I mean, I know, like, old boomer Celtics fans have visions of 86 Bill Walton in their heads with, like, the over-the-head passes to cutters. Although the Celtics don't cut, so there's no one to pass to. The Celtics never cut, so it's always got to be out to a 3-point shooter. But it's kind of neat to have that person there if they've got that vision and there are people moving around them to be able to hit those guys. So, good vision on those 2 passes from him tonight.
I'm gonna say facts my dog, but Noah's right. If Porzingis can if John Zannis can teach a course, then Kristaps Porzingis can definitely teach a course.
What is your course, John?
What Noah said.
I teach sports writing and I teach podcasting. And I also do. I've done other ones as well. Yeah,
he teaches podcasting. He just, like, for 45 minutes, like, clicks around. And he's like, "Wait a second, that's not what I meant to put up. Hold on, wait a second. Look, that wasn't supposed to be there."
I don't know how you're supposed to do it. I just go out there and talk.
I can see you as a teacher. I can see it.
I just go talk, and some people think it's entertaining. A lot of people think it's annoying. That's it. That's my secret.
Some people, they just need the
Class
credits,
dismissed.
you know? Yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for coming out.
We go
Shout
to
out.
we go to school every night with John here on the show.
That's right. All you people watching, it's free. It's a free
Free
class.
education.
It's
Yeah.
about
Thank
like this.
Thank you, Jason, by the way, for
Yeah,
that super chat. Section 10, row 19 at the Jazz. Once a year, smuggle a hard hat, he said. Guys, get your hard hats. Zannis teaches podcasting, LMAO.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody can believe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my last comment of the night, so I'm good. Sherrod, you got anything?
I got nothing, man. It was a
Dude,
Scheierman show.
It was a
man.
Scheierman show. It was a Sherrod and Scheierman show. 6-game trip.
Yes.
There we go.
Now.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for holding it down. Congrats to Noah for her television debut.
Congrats, Noah.
Yeah, good stuff
Thank
there.
you.
If you guys didn't check it out, Noah was schooling people on the panel. With the well, you know
It was
what?
weird
Of
to
the-
not feel under attack, John.
of the
I missed it,
people that
honestly.
seriously, they took it really easy on you. I was trying to
They
text,
did. I was like, where?
text my people at NBC like, no. You gotta really press her.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, Noah, on that panel, I mean, you've got people who aren't covering the Celtics on a regular basis, so they were leaning on you hard for like, what's
I
going
knew
on
they
with this
would. I
team?
said
Yeah.
that to her.
Yeah. That this was your show. They gave Noah the ball. She ran with it. So good job, Noah, over there. Make sure you check it out. All the written stuff on Celtics blog. Obviously, check out Bobby Manning's work at clnsmedia.com. Sherrod Blakely with the Big Three podcast. You don't want to miss that on CLNS Media. And of course, his Substack, which you can find where?
Sherrod Blakely. Find me. Just search me. I'm there.
Just Google him.
Just Google Sherrod.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's on there.
Yeah.
I'm there.
It's just on the internet.
And Jimmy Toscano?
What about Jimmy?
Internet
Yeah, you
space
can just
thing.
Google me.
You know,
too.
he
You'll
just does
find
what he
me.
does.
You can
Yeah.
Google him too.
You just find
Any
me.
upcoming shows, Jimmy?
Actually, nothing this weekend. I'm working on a few new things. I have some announcements coming out. Thank you, Noah.
Yeah.
You'll be the
And then,
first to know.
I forgot to mention, Noah, you
Thank
got
you.
Boston as well. So there's a lot of stuff. Jimmy John podcast still in development.
Working on
miss
it. Yeah.
Don't
working on
miss
it.
a Jimmy show. If he posts an update, you go to it. That's what I do. So make sure you guys check it out. Make sure you guys check it out. Thank you guys for hanging on the Garden Report. We got late ones coming up. Well, not that late because the Portland one is 6, but a 9:30 start in Utah. We will, of course, be there. Noah, are you doing this trip?
Hitting me 9:30.
I'm doing the last 3 games. So
Last 3. So you're not the first 2. Okay.
Memphis,
So,
San Antonio, Phoenix.
okay. So we'll be back on Friday. You'll catch some of us, if not most of us. But thank you guys again for watching the Garden Report, and we will see you on Friday. No one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me, I'll tell you
Okay, you know what, John? We're gonna do it.
You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to
Same.
feel that
Same
way.
people.
Let's fly that over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke hour early. We're not going to end this on a damn conversation about Luke